Hello, Gary.
Hey, Chris, how are you, man?
I'm good, and welcome everybody to this public training hosted by the Paperless Agent. I'm Chris Scott,
And I'm Gary Kreth.
and today we're talking about the 12-month marketing calendar, Gary. Now, we did fire this bad boy up a few minutes early so that everybody could get logged in, so welcome. We haven't officially started yet, but we thought we would banter a little bit, get things going here before we stop at officially the top of the hour. And so,
Yeah, maybe to kick off, Chris, should we ask everybody what they want to talk about today?
well, we've got a jam-packed session, so I am curious. Like, hey, if you could take one thing away from today's session, you're going to spend, I hope you spend at least an hour with us. Some of you are going to spend probably an hour and a half with us, which is cool. But what's the one thing you'd like to take away from your time with us today? Because Gary, we're going to give them a full 12-month marketing program. It's what they can, it's what they can send out every single month. This is the game plan. Well, the cool thing about this program is they actually don't have to wait till January to do it. They can fast forward it and start doing it in October if they want. But this is action-packed, jam-packed. The great thing too is we're going to share with them everything. A lot of these are marketing campaigns, marketing strategies, lead generation campaigns, lead generation strategies that we use in our own real estate practice. Our clients in our club use it. So I'm excited to share a lot of these tools and resources with everybody.
Well, I love this because everybody, just as you know, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Head on over to the chat section and let us know what's the one thing you want to take away from today, because we do have a 12-month marketing calendar and action plan for you, which, Chris, when I first started real estate back in 1902, if somebody came to me and said, Gary, here is a 12-month marketing calendar, just like at a bare minimum, do these things and it's going to build your business, I would have absolutely gone crazy over it, done exactly what they told me.
Well, the funny thing is, instead, they gave you a phone book and a telephone and said, here, go figure this out, right?
And that ended up being a very long marketing strategy and a long tail marketing strategy. So, we've got a few people here saying they want to understand some social media marketing. Great, because we're going to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Heidi says, I need to make a plan. Good, we're going to help you with that. Somebody's talking about different technologies, and so we're gonna talk about all of these things. So,
well, Gary, it's officially the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and get this started. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's public training where Gary Kreth and myself, Chris Scott, here at the Paperless Agent, also with Kreth Partners Real Estate here in Austin, Texas. We're going to share with you a 12-month marketing calendar for real estate, right? So this is going to help you generate business, generate leads, dominate more of your marketplace. But I wanted to, and before we get into the details of this 12-month program, I wanted to just throw a little bit of context to this, Gary, because sometimes we can overlook the obvious when it comes to marketing. Now, we're going to share with everybody lots of different strategies, lots of different lead sources, and all that good old stuff. But I always like to remind people of a little fact, and it starts with this simple equation. Now, Gary, you told me something that it doesn't surprise me at all, but the numbers do. And I don't want you to tell everybody exactly what it is, but I want you to think of the number 85%. So I want, remember that number and you know what I'm talking about, because it's where 85% of your business comes from. But don't tell everybody what that is just yet. But I wanted to share with everybody just this simple equation that might reframe or rethink about what they're going to do over the 12 months. Now, when you build a marketing calendar, and the one that we're going to share with you guys, you really want to make sure that you address all the different lead sources, all the different marketing sources that you're going to implement over the course of that year. You don't want to ignore anything. But the fact of the matter is that the average person knows 600 people. Now, this has been greatly amplified over the years because of tools like social media. So, more of us are in contact with people from high school than ever before, right? We have more connections from our youth. But the average person knows 600 people. And get this, the average person, according to the National Association of Realtors, the average person moves every 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So you do that math. If you do that math, that means about 60 people we know, right, either from our past, present, 60 people that we know are moving. Now, we are not capturing this. And to be honest with you, we probably can't capture all of it, right? Because maybe only 300 of the people live in the vicinity that we currently live in, right? But even then, if we only had 300 people that we knew, on average, 300 people or 30 people are moving every single year, right?
And who here would like maybe, I don't know, 30 more transactions a year than you're doing right now?
Yeah, and it's just we have such a poor, what do you call it? A poor capture rate on that 30 or that 60 or somewhere in between. Now, we're going to share with everybody lots of different strategies, not just about being able to market to that sphere of people that are somehow connected to us. But this is an important one, because if most people just did this, they would have a surplus of business, right? You would be too busy in a given month. You would have a surplus to probably start referring out. But Gary, before we dive into the details of the 12-month marketing calendar that we're going to share with everybody, I wanted to take a moment just to introduce us. All right. And so, I don't know. Who should go first, you or me?
I'm going to go first, but I do want to let everybody know that Webinar Jam apparently is having some issues today, and this is not anything that we can control. I know that some people are having some video and audio issues, but all you need to do, like Rich just said, just reconnect. Hit reconnect at the top of your page there, and you should be fine. And with that, I'm going to introduce Chris Scott. Chris is a digital marketing expert in the domain of real estate. Chris, you have been marketing, you've been helping realtors market themselves, brand themselves in real estate for, gosh, almost 2 decades now. Chris, you started out as the head of the consumer marketing divisions for Brian Buffini for 11 years. Man, you got to work next to him for 11 years. Then more recently moved to Austin and ran the sales and marketing divisions for a 2-time Inc. 500 winning company. That's an incredible feather in your cap. This guy is an expert, a digital marketing expert. So when you're talking about this 12-month program, this is the guy you need to be listening to, and he's about to drop some knowledge on you.
Well, the fact of the matter is the 12-month marketing program wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the gentleman that I'm about to introduce, which is Gary Kreth. Gary is our resident sales and business development expert. You've been selling real estate for 21 freaking years. That's a really long time to be doing something. So he's definitely somebody who's seasoned, well seasoned in the trenches, so to speak. Gary still sells real estate today at our real estate business here in Austin, Texas at Kreth Partners. He's been featured by Apple Computer. And get this, at the height of his real estate career, he was going on 6 listing appointments every single week and carrying, managing about 50 pending and active listings at any given time. Now, here's why that's such a big deal, guys, is this calendar that we're about to talk about is based off of Gary's experience of figuring out, how do I sell more homes? How do I find more clients? If you guys want to take a screenshot, we're going to go through all 12 of these in great detail. So don't worry if you can't see a part of it right now. We're going to get to it. But here's the thing is, Gary, you had to figure out how to generate business. So I mentioned that you were going to share with everybody this 85% number, but when your first day in the business, they gave you a phone book and a telephone, right? So did that work?
I'm sure it worked for some people, but it didn't work for me because I'm not that kind of guy who's going to sit on my phone for 10 hours a day calling people who don't want to hear from me and really not having anything to talk about.
Just you saying that makes me hurt a little bit. Like something in my chest is like tightened up when you said. So you figured out that there's better ways to attract clients, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what this whole calendar is based off of, is here are all the different ways that over the years you found to be the most effective ways to attract more clients to you, right? So
you got it.
Or that, Gary, are you ready? Are you ready to just rapid fire through each one of these 12 months?
Absolutely. So here's what's going to happen, everybody. We're going to rapid fire through 12 months over the next probably 53 minutes. Then we're going to talk about additional resources and tools that you can use to implement this stuff. Then we're going to do Q&A for about 30 minutes. Now, I do want to let you know that from time to time, we will turn the chat off. Just so, because there's really important stuff that we want you to focus on. So we don't want you focusing on the chat. We want you to focus on what Chris and I are teaching, and then we'll turn the chat back on from time to time so you can ask your questions. And with that,
but
Chris,
they can still message us. We'll still see their messages, right? When the chat is muted. Yes. So you'll still be able to message us. And if you have questions, throw them in there. And then when we get to Q&A, we'll answer as many of those bad boys as we possibly can in the allotted time. So with that, Gary, we're just going to, a little bit of, a heads up, guys. So I'm going to give you the 12-month marketing calendar. We're going to go through each one of these things in detail, but you don't need to, you can rearrange these things, right? So you might look at it and say, well, it's October right now, and I want to do something else right now. I want to do the January one right now. That's fine. The idea here is I want you to take these strategies, take these campaigns, take these ways of marketing. And, if you want, you can just plug and play. That's fine. That's fine. But you might also want to just say, you know what, I like this one. I'm going to do this one here, and I'm going to do this one there. And so I invite you to view this as a collaborative opportunity. Or for those of you who just want something to where I can just swipe it and implement it, that works too. All right. So either one of those options is going to work. But Gary, I got to move fast because all 12 months, I have real world examples of all of these things. So we can't dilly dally too much. So take a look at January. In January, which you can send out, is a real estate market update report. So what does that look like? Well, here's an example of what a real estate market update report is. Gary, how often do you get this question?
How's the market? What's going on in the market? I get this question absolutely every time I meet anybody in public who knows I'm a real estate agent. I mean, I get it when I come to the Paperless agent office because you're asking me, hey, Gary, what's going on in the market?
Well, here's the thing. Sharing what's happening in the market is such an important thing. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I would just do this once a year. You might want to do this a few times a year because I think the opportunity is there. But the power behind sharing what's going on in the marketplace is that people get a chance to see your expertise in action, right? They get a chance to be able to see you interpret what's going on around them in the real estate space that they don't, they see the news, but they don't know how to interpret what it means for them, right? Mm-hmm. And so, sharing this, here's an example. This is something that we provide our clients with, Gary. This is a newsletter that we provide our clients. We actually provided it to them this month, although I've had this slated for January. And it's a newsletter that how's the market. You basically send this out to everybody that you know. Send it out. Attach it to this email, you send it out. And so I modified this email we sent this out the other day, even though I had this listed as January, but you guys can send it out today. Like I said, you can send it out more than once, or you could wait till January to do something like this. I modified this one a little bit to say, is the Austin housing market out of control? And you can see the email that we sent out to our database. Our database consists of about 560 some people. Is that right, Gary? That's people that know us, that Gary knows, that they're just people that we've had interaction with. Some of them are past clients. Some of them are just people that we know. Some of them are business people that we are friends with. So that's just our database. And this campaign went out to everybody in our database. But then on top of that it's not like you just do one thing, right? So you look at the way this campaign is structured is there's a newsletter and Gary's sending it out, but then we put it on Facebook too. And here's the thing. We captured Gary. Gary, you filmed a little introduction to this so you could put it on Facebook, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where, at your request, you're like, hey, you know what? Let's do some video to introduce people to how the market is, and also let them know that they're going to be receiving a message from you via email. And so we shot this video. You did a Facebook ad to everybody in our database, so they're seeing this both on Facebook and they're seeing this in their email inbox.
So this is the first thing. I like to introduce this one because this type of campaign is really powerful. I mentioned the significance and the importance of sharing your expertise. I mean, that builds trust with people because they get to see your competence. But another thing that this does, because there's multiple points of interaction, right? They're getting an email, they're seeing it on social media, there's a video you talking about it, is that it implements this concept. And we're going to talk more about this later, Gary, in a separate month, but it implements this concept called omnipresent marketing. And the power of omnipresent marketing is that you show up in all places at all times. And that is how, that's a little secret, a little foreshadowing. That's how you get referred more. That's how you get more repeat business. And that's how you build up a presence in a marketplace. And so I don't want to spend too much time on it now because I really want to get into the next one, which is the February campaign, which is the Move Up program. Now, Gary, you invented this guy. I asked Gary the question one time, Gary, if our next meal, we're sitting there and we were having lunch, and I was like, Gary, if our next meal depended on us getting a deal, what would you do? And he said, well, that's easy. Do the Move Up program, yo. And then I was like, well, let's go ahead and do that. I mean, our next meal isn't dependent on it, but let's go do it, right? So, Gary, can you tell everybody what this program is and how they implement it?
Yeah, absolutely happy to. So number one is you got to have a database, and all a database is a compilation of everybody that you know. And so you need to research your database and find the people who have been living in the same house for 3 years or more. The reason this is important is, like Chris said at the beginning of this, is on average people move every 10 years, but that's the average. You know, what if somebody is on a faster time frame and they're maybe moving a little sooner? So you need to make sure that you catch them.
I was going to say, Gary, that average gets skewed because of the people who are staying in 5, 10, 20 years. But, if let's say they're in a different stage of life, they're going to move more frequently, right? That person who bought that first time buyer home is probably looking just a few years later as their family has grown and so on and so forth. Or even that person who bought that second home, right? That was me. Couple of years, well, it wasn't my second home. I don't know how many homes I've owned, but it was the second home I had. That when I bought the second home in Austin that I lived in, it was only a few years after I had bought the previous home in Austin that I was in, because our family had expanded again. I went from 3 kids to 4 kids, and next thing you know, I was like, let's get a new place. So 3 years is the right number.
Yep. Well, it happens. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that we catch them at that time frame. So you need to research the database and find all the people who have been living in the same house for more than 3 years. The way you do that, you go into MLS, you go into your tax records and find those people. Next, produce a quick CMA, not a full-blown CMA, but produce a quick CMA showing them the estimate of their home's value and then email it to them. I want you to spend no more than maybe 3 or 4 minutes per CMA, because you're going to need to do this for maybe 30 to 40 people. Then what you're going to do is, guess what, Chris? We don't just send it and forget it. We're going to pick up the phone. We're going to call them. We're going to text message them. And we're going to post Facebook ads to that database, making sure that they know that we sent that to them. So you're going to do this. You're going to advertise your Move Up program, and you're also going to invite these folks to send that Move Up program to people who they know as well.
Let's talk a little bit about why this works, and I'm going to share with them the email that goes out that you attach the CMA to.
Okay.
So, the reason why the 3 years works is that people who are thinking of moving will oftentimes start looking and thinking about it 2 years prior to the fact, right? So when you start at 3 years, you're also starting to capture the people who are going to move in 12 months and 24 months. The irony is, like, someone who is going to move in, let's say, 12 months, to us, it seems like such a long time, but before you know it, they need to start taking action, and they already have been looking online quite a bit and seeing a lot of stuff. So, one of the reasons why this works is you're really zeroing in on who the right people are to receive this message. And then the fact that you took the time, it doesn't matter if it only took you a few minutes to produce that CMA, is that
they don't know that.
They don't know that. And you've created value in the form of something they can't do themselves. They don't have access to the MLS. They can't produce a CMA. They can do a guesstimate. They can do a guesstimate, but that's not going to be what we can bring to the table in terms of sharing that information. So we've created this we've targeted the right people. We've created this tremendous value in the form of the CMA, but it also serves as this point and a reason to follow up. You've created value. You've sent it to them. Now you've got a reason to call them, to message them, to essentially stalk them until you get like a, hey, thank you, at least a thank you, right? You figure out, but you've got a reason to contact them because you've created some value for them. So, Gary, what I wanted to do was show them the cover letter for this because I think it helps put all of this into perspective.
Sure.
Hey, Gary, in reviewing my records, it looks like you've been in your home for over 4 years. Isn't it amazing how time flies? Out of curiosity, I took the liberty of running a market analysis on your home to see its current estimated value. You can see the analysis attached to this message. Did you know your home's value has increased by approximately 20% in the last 4 years? That's an $80,000 increase. Historically, people move every several years as they go through life changes. If you're thinking of moving in the next 18 months, I wanted you to know about my Move Up Buyer program. When you sell your home with me and buy another one in 90 days, you'll get a credit towards the closing cost so you can really move up on your next home. Are you curious about what's for sale? If you'd like access to my customized home search tools, send me a quick message. Thanks. And then a little PS, and this PS is an important one. Let me read it for you guys because this turns this program into not just something where they can take advantage of it, but it turns it into something where they now have a reason to refer you to other people. So hear this out. If you have friends or family members who could benefit from my Move Up Buyer program, please tell them about it. Because of you, I'd be happy to make this program available to them. And so you attach the CMA to this bad boy, you send it out, and then you start your follow-up. And so this is something, I mean, they could wait till February to do it, but Gary, can they do it today if they wanted to?
Absolutely. And in fact, that's the whole thing is that just because we're giving you this calendar like this, it doesn't mean that you have to wait. These are extremely important and valuable times to be able to do this, to be able to launch into the spring season. So, man, if your next if your next like house payment is dependent on you getting a commission, this is absolutely the very first thing that you need to be doing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, with that. And if we have questions about it, we can hit it up in Q&A. But I wanted to we got to jump into March, which is offering a builder program. Gary, the builder program, now we've identified, you've worked with builders in 3 different capacities. And I really wanted to zero in just on one of these and to be able to show people a resource that they can use for being able to attract builders. But can you cover the 3 different opportunities and why the last one that we're going to spend some time talking about makes a lot of sense?
Okay, sure. So number one, the first one, Chris, is everybody knows about, and that is finding buyers to sell them new homes. Mm-hmm. That's simple. Like everybody in real estate knows that one. You find buyers, you take them to a builder's spec home or their office, and you find them a house that they want to purchase, and you help them build the house. Great, got it. Next one is a little more uncommon, and that is you approach builders who have buyers who are buying homes from the builder, and you let them know, you help that builder's buyer sell their homes. So this is the way you do this. Number one, you would approach the sales agent or the sales representative, or if it's a custom home builder, approach the builder and say, hey, do you ever have home buyers who want to buy homes from you, but they have houses to sell? And the answer is almost always going to be absolutely, yeah, all the time. Great. You know what? I would love to help them list, market, and sell their house to ensure that you, as the home builder, get the house built and sold to them on time. And any builder worth their salt is going to look at that and find value there. So it's very, very valuable. Mm-hmm. The third one is help the builders market and sell their homes to prospective buyers. Here's the thing, is that truth of the matter is most home builders are either real estate brokers or their spouses, or they hire somebody in-house to do this for them. The reality is, Chris, their marketing and lead generation and conversion sucks. They need our help. And so
they're probably just putting a sign in the yard, putting in the MLS, and hoping that it sells at that point, right? I mean, there's no sophistication there, right?
There's no sophistication. They don't understand this new digital age of marketing and selling houses. Why? Because they're trying to keep up with technology of building and designing and selling houses that they're building. Like their whole expertise is building a house, not marketing it. So they need your help.
So real quick, explanation here. What's the benefit in working with builders? I mean, like if you're going to use this in terms of focusing on this program in a given month, what are some of the benefits? Why have you done it? It's something that you've done
Sure.
a lot in the past. Why did you do this?
Well, number one is it can very quickly turn into a lot of listing inventory for me. So if I go to a builder and they've got a couple dozen homes that they're working to sell, if I can go in there and show them how we're going to help them, I can very quickly build up my inventory. Number two is it builds identity for myself. If other builders see me doing a great job marking a certain builder's home, I'm more likely to be able to generate additional listing inventory from other builders. And when I'm listing something like this, what comes out of the woodwork when you're listing and marketing beautiful homes? Buyers. So I get to generate a lot of buyers. Now, are these buyers always going to be right for these homes that are being built? Absolutely not. So it allows me to generate those buyers and then convert them and sell them something else.
Right. So it gives you a chance to connect with those buyers. They might not be interested in that home. Maybe what makes more sense for them is some existing home, not something that's a new build. Right. And so statistically speaking, that's probably going to be, that's statistically speaking, more people will buy existing inventory than new inventory. So, but those buyers are still coming into the market because they're just curious to see what's going on.
They're coming into the market, and guess what? If I don't get in front of them and convert them as my buyers, somebody else will.
So now you told me that opportunity 2 and 3 kind of work hand in hand a little bit, right? So you can provide value in one format. They're also going to want that's kind of like scratching backs, so to speak, right?
That's absolutely right. So, if I'm helping the builder's buyers market and sell their house, and I do a great job of that, then they're going to see how well I'm doing that for the buyers of their homes, and they'll say, gosh, well, you know what? Maybe we should be talking to Gary about marketing our homes.
Yeah. Now, for those of you guys, Gary is a listing expert. He's listed and sold so many homes, but with that emphasis on listing. So I think if you want to be a listing expert, you need the inventory, and this is a great source of inventories to be able to go out. But in order to do that, as a listing expert, what makes sense is to have essentially a listing presentation for builders. And that's what we're going to show with you guys. We actually created this. I've been in some builder conversations, and Gary's been on many of them. And what we tried to do is summarize the conversation that you have with a builder in the form of a builder program, i.e. a listing presentation for builders. And so, Gary, I'm going to kind of go through this one a little bit faster just because I want to get into deeper into the months and spend more time. Suffice it to say, if you take the time to build a listing presentation for builders or your builder program, it's a tool that you can use to be able to communicate the benefits, the value, and what you're going to offer. You can see there's a strong emphasis on marketing and the marketing that you're going to do for the builder, because that's how you would stand out from whatever they were going to do in-house, is that, hey, we're going to do all of these marketing things. We're not just going to put in the MLS and put a sign in it, but we're going to do a lot to build an online presence for the property, or even for the individual unit as well as the whole project if they're working on a project. And what we're going to do by doing that is help them build their brand. And so you can talk about, this is how we're going to outperform the marketplace, and those are the strategies that we use to outperform it, and then just show them, hey, you've got some experience, and make it easy to do so. That is the builder program. Now, some of you, I'm sure, are going to ask for, hey, can I get a copy of that? And later on during today's presentation, I'm going to share with you how you can get that template that I just shared with you for free. But we don't have time to talk about it right now because we got to get into April, which is all about open houses. And so,
love this, man. You're talking my language right here, Chris.
Oh, I know. Well, you said it, right? It's like the real estate itself, whether it's a builder, whether it's an open house, whether it's a listing that we have, whether it's somebody else's listing that we're holding open, that like brings the market to our front doorstep. That literally brings the market to the front doorstep. And a lot of people boo-hoo doing open houses, but you've told me that whenever you do an open house, you always walk away with one or two new,
at least one new qualified client, right?
So can you just kind of share with everybody, the general strategies? You get the opportunity, you promote the event, you prepare the home, and what you say, and the follow-up that you do. But I wanted to share, if you could share with everybody the difference between how most people do an open home by talking about that one Jackson Street listing and how you do it. So I think it's a great way to contrast. So before people say, well, that doesn't work, here's why open house strategies don't work for most people, is you're just saying the wrong stuff. So Gary, can you explain to everybody?
Well, first, maybe first and foremost, I think we probably have a lot of new agents on here, or a lot of agents who have no listing inventory. And so I think that's a great excuse to not host an open house. So a lot of people say, well, I don't have any listings, so I'm not going to host an open house. Well, here, I'm going to tell you how to go get an open house. So now you have no excuse. Number one, acquiring the opportunity is if you can contact your broker, contact other agents in your office, and if nobody in your office has any listings, go outside of your office to other offices and ask the agents if you can host their houses open. I've never had an agent, I'm not going to let anybody host my house open. Here's the thing. Most other agents hate promised it to their get to fulfill. You can acquire that opportunity. It's very easy to do. And then, promoting the event, Chris will talk a little bit about that. Preparing the house, yeah, we all know how to do that. But what to say, Chris, you were talking about this is, I hosted this open house. It was about a 7,600 square foot lakefront home. I think it was like 2.7 something million. Beautiful home. And I knew we were going to get some traffic. And I also knew that I couldn't be everywhere at once. So I had two other agents join me at this open house so that they could convert leads as well, and I could take better care of our seller. Well, this couple comes in, and I turned to one of my agents. I said, this is your opportunity. And she goes, okay. So she goes up to him. She talks to him for a couple seconds. She comes back. She gets some water. She takes him the water, and then she comes back. I said, okay, so, what just happened? She goes, well, you're always telling me make valuable offers of help. Well, it's a hot summer day, so I offered them water and they accepted. And I'm like, okay. It's like, okay, got it. So what I did is I went up to this couple and I said, hey, my name is Gary Kreth. I'm the listing agent. I'm hosting this. And I just wanted to thank you for coming by. And, by the way, if you don't mind if I ask, how did you hear about the open house? And they said, oh, well, we received the postcard. Well, I knew that only people who lived in the neighborhood received the postcard. I said, oh, great. You must live in the neighborhood. Are you guys thinking of moving? And they said, oh, no, we're not. In fact, we have friends who live in Houston who want to move to our neighborhood, and we told them we'd check this house out. And I could have stopped right there and said, oh, okay, well, whatever. But I went on. I said, great. You know what? I actually have a lot of great video and photos and descriptions of this house that I can send you that you can send on to your friends. What's the best email address for me to send that to? Then all of a sudden, bam, that is a valuable offer of help that helps them look like rock stars to their friends, and it got me an opportunity to build a relationship with this couple and to potentially build a relationship with their friends. So open house strategies are really all about, number one, acquiring the right property to host open, number two, getting the people there, and number three, the most important is actually having good questions to ask.
Gotcha. So make sure you promote it. Make sure you're at, the funny thing is you talk a lot about making offers of help. That's a great story to kind of show with a contrast, but some, little side tips is, you will typically have your computer open with a search show at the kitchen table with a search of all the homes for sale in the neighborhood. And you'll invite people, hey, what do you think of this house? Right. And then how do you get them to interact with the search?
So here's the thing. Do I know for a fact, because I've been hosting open houses for 21 years, do I know that almost everybody who walks into that house is not going to be right for them? I know that to be a fact. And so I know I need to have other offers of help. So I know when I ask this question, so what'd you think of the home? I know the answer is, well, it's just not right for us. I say, oh, okay, well, no problem. You know what I did? Is I went ahead and I took the liberty of pulling up every single house that's on the market in this geographic area. And I pulled it up. It's on my computer. Just go browse through. And you know what, by the way, if you see any houses where you're like, oh, we might want to go see that one, let me know. And I'm happy to meet you there after I shut down this open house. Another huge valuable offer of help. I've never had anybody not go to the computer and scroll through. And then when they scroll through, I say, did you find anything that piqued your interest? Almost every time they're like, yeah, I like this house right here. I say, hey, you know what? No problem. Here's my cell phone. What's your cell phone number? Let's connect. I'll meet you there at 4 o'clock after I shut this down. And they meet me there. Great opportunity.
Now, just as a side point, when you do, I just want a little tidbit of information, Gary. When you do an open house, you will typically put up 20 signs, right? Just to promote that. That's right. 20 of our branded signs that you will basically scatter around what's the radius that you do around that home?
Well, what I'll do is I'll go out sometimes 3, 4, 5 miles, depending on the neighborhood. I want every major ingress point to have signage. And I'll do 2 signs at every major ingress point, minimum of 2 signs.
And that's for branding?
That is all. It's all about branding because, will people in the neighborhood probably not come to the open house? Probably. Mm-hmm. But you know what? They're going to know that I'm in the neighborhood and they're going to think that any time that they need to sell a house, well, they've got to think of our firm because, man, Gary's everywhere in this neighborhood.
Well, and that speaks to probably the strongest evidence that you can show somebody in the neighborhood that you have competence to sell homes in their neighborhood is by actually selling homes in their neighborhood. Now, the great thing about an open house is they may not distinguish between a for sale sign versus an open house sign and whose branding is on it. So it still builds your branding, builds your identity in that community.
And here's another thing, Chris, real quick, is that they're not all my listings. And in fact, most open houses that I host are not my listings because I'm trying to penetrate a specific geographic market. And so I'll go host other agents' listings open. The buyers, or the prospective buyers, the neighbors, they don't care who has that house on the market. They think I do. And that's all I care about.
Gotcha. Well, we talked a little bit about identity and branding. In May, what you guys can do is work on improving your online identity. Now, this is an important one. I'm going to give you, about 5 different quick tactics that you can use. But here's a good and common conversation that takes place, whether it happens via text message or in real life or, in a personal exchange, doesn't matter so much as this is how it works these days. And then, Google backs this up on a study they've done. But hey, here's Doug. And he says, hey, we're thinking of, or here's Larry and Doug having a conversation. Larry says, hey, we're thinking of moving to Westlake. What do you like or dislike about it? Oh, Doug says, we love it here. Schools are great, great neighborhoods, but you got to negotiate to get a good deal these days. Larry says, cool, I'm going to start looking in the area. Doug says, hey, you should really talk to my real estate agent. She knows the area very well and got us a great deal. I wouldn't work with anyone else for buying a place in this area. And then Larry responds, cool, who is it? And then the question is, what happens next? All right. Have you ever guys thought about this? When someone has a conversation with a friend of theirs if we're fortunate enough to get referred. Now, the thing is, a lot of times that whole, hey, you really need to work with the person that I worked with never happens. Now, I'm going to share with you how later on in a separate campaign, how we can greatly increase the chances of that happening. Kind of similar to how we did that in January. That campaign that we shared in January on the How's the Market campaign is a great way to solidify that last part of the conversation here where it says, hey, you need to work with the person that I worked with. But let's say someone promotes and advocates for us. They refer us. They speak our accolades. Well, the question is, what happens next? And a lot of us don't really take into consideration that here's where a lot of our opportunity is lost. I mean, I'd say more opportunity is lost because we don't stay in touch and build that referral base up. It's actually the largest single source of business. If you look at all sources of business, referrals are even greater than repeat clients. We're just getting more of our past clients will get referrals to somebody else, typically speaking, than working with us because we don't do a good job of it. But here's what happens next. They Google you, right? According to Google, they did a study to find out, hey, what happens? What things take place? And here's what they found. The majority of housing consumers, they are going to research us extensively online before working with us. And so they're going to go to Google and they're going to say, all right, I just got a referral to Gary Kreth. Let me type in Gary Kreth. Oh, looks like there's a lot of Gary Kreths. Let me type in Gary Kreth Austin because that's where I live. And lo and behold, what happens? The search results page shows up. And one of 2 things happen here, Gary. Trust either gets built, like the trust from that referral increases, or it decreases at this point. You imagine if they referred you and like there was nothing on this page about you at all, or the things that were on there had nothing to do about real estate, do you think that builds up your credibility or tears it down a little bit, right? And so just if you do a search on Gary Kreth Austin, you're going to find lots of stuff about Gary on there. Most of it is stuff that we purposefully put out there, right? So it's not going to be hard to find Gary online. Here's an interesting stat. 97% of consumers looked online for local businesses. When people want to work with us, they are going to online and research us. They don't just take that blind referral and say, okie dokie, let me give Gary a call. No, they first go to Google on the phone and then they call you because they probably don't even have your contact information in the first place, and they got to look you up online just to get that, right?
Well, that's exactly right, Chris. So it is critical that you have all of that really looking nice online. But what are some ways that you can do this, Chris?
Here's a quick 5-step plan. So make sure you've got a very powerful online bio with specific criteria that is going to speak to the reader they're researching you, right? They want to have trust that, you're going to take care of them and that you're really good at what they do. So that needs to be included in their bio to build confidence. Another thing that you can do is buy a domain and direct it to a profile site. Kind of like this, right? We provide for our clients, they get a marketing website that's essentially a profile site, and we just redirect the name. If you go to chrisscott.online, you'll see it. That's my profile site where you can see what the website looks like. And that's a great way because it makes it easier for you to get found. Make sure you have a all-star status, rock solid LinkedIn profile. I don't know if you looked at when I pulled up Gary's search results. For most people, if you've created a LinkedIn profile, it's going to show up in the top 5. For Gary, when I did this search, it actually showed up in the first search result for him. Let's go back to that. Take a screenshot here if you guys want it. Set up your Yelp and Facebook pages. This is important. Both of those are viewed by Google as directories. And if you're searching on a map on your iPhone, it uses Yelp reviews incorporated in that map. And then also set up and use Google My Business for reviews, because all of those things are going to radically help and improve your online reputation. And that's something that you should revisit every year, right? Every year you could carve out a single month to really work on building that. You can, in the first month, the first time you decide to do this, implement this 5-step plan. In future and following months, you're just going to want to build on those things. Grow reviews on there, continue to build out your LinkedIn profile, continue to expand on your profile site, author content and share information out there so that it keeps those things up to date. And that's how you essentially, it's not that hard, to be honest with you. It just takes a little bit of care and attention. If you were to search either for Gary or myself online, you're going to find that we've over the years just put a little bit of time into it, a little bit of time into it, a little bit of time into it. The great thing about an online reputation is if you just do a handful of things, you can have almost an immediate impact. So I definitely want you guys to do that, because we could do all of this work that we're doing to generate opportunities, and then we've got this leak that's siphoning off these opportunities, because as we get referred and as people go online to research us, their confidence doesn't get built up. It actually causes them to think, you know what, maybe I'll just work with my brother-in-law. I know he just got his license. And aren't real estate agents the same anyway because of what they just saw online? So make sure you do that. Let's move on to June, Gary. We're halfway through the year.
We got 6 more months to go here, bud.
Okay, so the next one is the professional dossier. This is essentially like a resume that you send out, but you do it. It's kind of a fun way to be able to share. And I'm going to give you guys the context for this. The context for sending this one out is extremely important, because if you just send out your dossier, right? So here's an example of what's included in it. You have your bio, which is the same bio that you might have on your online profile site. You've got some recent reviews that you just plug into this document, maybe a recent work, like a recent listing that you've had, and then a couple offers of help, right? So thinking of moving, access our home search tools, curious about the market. And so you could use this as a PDF, because it's going to be easiest to send this out as a PDF format. But here's the context for sending this out. And it goes with, let me just share the cover email that you can send out, or that you use to send out your professional dossier. And the subject line is, your friends and family will thank you for this. Or the headline reads, your friends or family will thank you for this. Heck, you could even print this out and do it snail mail style and just use that headline on the letter that you're going to send out. Your friends and family will thank you for this. But this is something, Gary, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever had somebody reach out to you and say, Gary, I made a mistake. I ended up working with this other person and I just thought you were too busy and stuff. So I didn't want to work with you, but I'm in a jam. Can you help me? Have you ever had that happen to you?
I have buyers and sellers contact me all the time. And first, it starts out with the apology. Like you said, Chris, it's like, you know what? I'm really sorry I listened to my husband. I'm really sorry I listened to my wife, or I listened to my brother-in-law and they told me we had to do this. And man, we're in a bind. We do not think this agent is helping us out. Can you take a look at the contract? And so, yeah, it happens all the time. So and it's painful, but it happens.
And you're going to take care of them. But like, that's
Absolutely.
The premise of it. I'm sure many of you guys have had that happen. But here's the rest of this cover letter. Have you ever found yourself in a serious bind? Be surprised how often I've run into people who are trying to buy or sell a home, who aren't my clients yet, and found themselves stuck at a standstill or heading for disappointment. Though I'm always happy to help these folks out, they wouldn't have been in the situation if they'd hired the right professional to start with, which is the point of this message. Because you're part of my network, I want to make sure everyone you know won't find themselves in a bind when buying or selling their next home. If someone you know is thinking of buying and selling a home, please use my recently updated professional dossier to refer them to somebody they can trust, which is me. They will definitely appreciate you for helping them and avoiding a major pitfall when they go to buy or sell their next home. So very easy. You can send this out once or twice a year. In fact, you don't have to just do it only once, because you can update the recent projects. You can update the recent reviews and send that out from time to time. Here's another one sort of related to that professional theme, which you can do in July, which is a professional network. Gary, now I don't know if this is true, but my speculation is your professional network is just as big, or if not bigger, than your non-professional network. I mean, you have a really big network of professionals and entrepreneurs and people in your database that consist of what I would term a professional.
Yeah, and I think if everybody just kind of steps back and, number one, starts thinking of themselves as an entrepreneur, then what you can do is you can start approaching other entrepreneurs, other business owners, and start talking about how you can refer them business. How can we build a relationship back and forth? And like Chris has here, it's a great script. It's like, hey, Chris, this is Gary Kreth with whatever firm. How's business going? Oh, well, that's interesting. Hey, by the way, the reason for this call is to see if I can refer you my clients. They're going to say, absolutely. Stupid question. And then you say, well, the service that you provide is exceptional. Now, in my line of work, clients often need referrals to services that you provide. So this could be an inspector, an appraiser, a mortgage, title. This could be anybody. Do you mind if we grab coffee in the next week or so I can learn more about your business and the best way to refer you my clients? And they're going to meet with you. They're going to buy the coffee. And what you're doing is you're offering help to them. Because here's what happens. Business people, when they are offered help like this, they instantly go to reciprocation.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. How many other people are having this type of conversation with them? Like, hey, I want to sit down. I want to better understand how to refer you. You're probably, during that conversation, you're going to need to learn about their business. Now, how many people are going to sit there and learn about their business? And you're building a relationship here. Like, this is a tool to create and expand your database. Right. Expand your database, create referring advocates, because you're going to do the same for them. And here's the thing. You add them to your monthly marketing program that you're sending out. So now they're part of it and they're receiving it. And so they're a new expansion, but you're providing a different type of value, because anytime you have an opportunity to refer them and you communicate this, now they have this huge benefit. And so it's just another different type of relationship, but a really powerful one, right? So how often might someone who is, a contractor, somebody who is a painter, someone who is a roofer, somebody who's doing a project because somebody's selling their home and might have a chance to refer you, right? So it happens all the time. You just got to build those relationships. Next thing I want to talk about in August is to implement omnipresent marketing. Now, omnipresent marketing is something that as I mentioned earlier, is something that you'll really want to do all year long, but we're going to use August as the month to talk about it. So what is omnipresent marketing, right? So this omnipresent marketing is when you show up in the peripheral vision of your sphere of influence's lives, or your prospects' lives, or your clients' lives all the time. Now, I say peripheral vision, so you're not in their face all the time, but you're in the peripheral vision. So you're always accessible by their conscious when a real estate conversation happens, right? So that's key right there, is that they know that you must be accessible to their memory, to their mind, in their consciousness, in their field of consciousness, whenever they engage in real estate content or a real estate conversation. That is how we secure referred business, is that when they have a conversation about real estate, you automatically, bing, enter into their head. Now, they may not say anything yet, but at least they've thought of you, and that's really important. So how do we do that? We want to show up on Facebook. We want to show up with a newsletter. We want to send voicemails, and we want to have conversations with them. We might want to have coffee with them from time to time. We want to send them messages and show up on Instagram. And yes, even see our for sale signs or our open house signs out there in the field, right? So omnipresent marketing isn't just exclusive to being online. It's all the modes of communication. That's why a phone call or even a voicemail is going to have profound impact. All of these different touch points do have different levels of effect when it comes to communication, but the fact is we should be doing all of it. So what are some of the things that we do for omnipresent marketing? Well, when we market a listing, here's an example of one of our listings. This screenshot's a little bit old because I think we reduced the price to 5.95, but this is an actual listing that we have on the market right now. And I make sure that in addition to marketing to this marketplace, that we market this to our database, right? So the people that are in our database, as well as in the farm markets that we're trying to build and expand on, is I make sure that I allocate a certain budget every time we have a listing, so that the people that we know, or that the people that know us, see us selling real estate. That's important.
It's absolutely critical that they continue to see us selling real estate. We have to be the people that they think of when we sell, when they want to go sell a house. Now, a lot of people have asked, Chris, how do you upload your list into Facebook? We're going to talk about, I promise I will ask Chris this question during Q&A, so stick around. We will talk about how you market to your database on Facebook.
All right, make sure you flag that one for
I've already flagged it, buddy. I got it.
Here's another example of another one. We do a lot of video, right? So we shot a video on how to choose your real estate agent. Same thing, just making sure the people in our database see that we're talking and sharing real estate related tips and information. Here's one that Gary we try to do every month, although we don't really quite do it. It's kind of like the one that we talked about in January, but it's a video update, and it's an Austin real estate market update where we're really talking about the question, is it still a home seller's market? And so again, what we're doing is making sure that everybody who knows us is seeing this information on the regular. And it doesn't cost, I mean, like, you can spend, one of the reasons why I like to use video for our marketing is it's so inexpensive to get it in front of our database. You're talking about a couple of cents per video view. So that's such a small price to pay to be able to have somebody in our database, somebody who knows us, somebody who's in our farm market, see a full video of us. I mean, that's fantastic.
That's the brand impression that we're going for. And as you see, Chris, that one, I don't know when you took that screenshot, but that has over 4,100 views. So
yeah, this is a while ago. I think I took this a couple of weeks ago.
Lots of exposure there.
So that's omnipresent marketing. These are all the different ways. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about omnipresent marketing in what we refer to as the MVP, or the monthly value program. So this is another program that I suggest that you do every single month, not just in a single month, but do it every single month.
And in fact, you need to start this right now.
Yes. You should have started last month. Pretend this is September 2018. You should have started this last month. But the monthly value program is where you're just giving value to your database in the form, I'm not just talking about any value, in the form of some real estate related context. So what am I talking about here? Well, here's what we do. We publish a blog post on a specific topic. All right. So here's one on 7 steps to a seamless move, the real estate relocation guide, right? So there's a blog post, there's a newsletter that we produce that we send out. So there's a copy of the newsletter. And again, same thing as the blog post. The blog post is more details. The newsletter is a condensed format of it, right? Because in a blog post, you can go real deep. Now, here's the thing. You're going to say, why are all these components? Well, let me refer back to the omnipresent marketing. So the way you implement omnipresent marketing is you change and you have lots of modes of communication of the same communication, right? So what happens is, oh, they see this on your blog. Oh, you've emailed out the newsletter. So, oh, they've gone onto Facebook and they've seen the same information on this. Now, what happens, right, is that because of the repetitive process, and here's the thing, because it's showing up in different places and different modes and different modalities, we call that in marketing, because it's showing up in different modalities, it's not like you're in the face. They're just subtle reminders. In fact, here's the thing, they may only see one of these things. Their conscious may only have them see one of these things. Here's the thing, the last time you clicked on an advertisement or you recognized an ad on TV was probably not the first time you actually saw it. It was just the first time you acknowledged and noticed it. It could have been the 10th time you've seen that ad before you clicked on it. It's just you weren't even aware of it. You wouldn't even known how many times you've seen it up until that point. So that's really important why this consistency is necessary. So there's the blog post. We share it on Instagram. We actually call everybody with a script. And this, I think this month we didn't actually do the phone call. We did a little voicemail service so that we could just deliver the voicemail. So
they had me record a voicemail and then we just blasted it out to all these phones.
So all the same folks, and it's basically just following up on the campaign that they set out. Here's a little tip. A lot of people don't follow up with phone calls, and it's so important to do phone calls and voicemails with people, but we don't know what to really say. So I'm not going to read this whole script, but it's like, hey, this is Gary at Kreth Partners, just calling to check in and see how things are going. Here's the thing. If it's a voicemail, you don't say, how was your summer? You would say something like, I hope your summer was good. If you talk to a person, then you would have a little chit chat. Now, here's a little transition point. This is an important one for you guys. You'll say, hey, Gary, let me put my real estate hat on for a minute. So now all of a sudden you're not like stuck in some open-ended conversation that's going to take you 35 minutes. It's like you do your chit chat, you catch up in a few minutes, and then let me put my real estate hat on because I've been sending out some information. I just wanted to see if you have any questions about it. And then bada boom, bada bing. You're going to ask and see if there's any way you can help them, and then you move on. Most of the people that you're going to talk to are just going to be glad to have heard from you, yes, right? But it's going to leave that indelible impact. Here's the funny thing is you do this consistently, here's what will happen. Someone's going to say, I was just talking to so-and-so, and they were talking about, but they were thinking of moving. Or they might even say, hey, we've been thinking of moving. What's going on in the market, right? Let me think about my report.
It's the whole thing. It's all omnipresent marketing, and you have to be everywhere all the time. All the time. You must be consistent.
An option B for that September letters, if you've not sent information out, is to send an apology letter saying, hey, I haven't been staying in touch all that well, but I'm going to be staying in touch better. I'm recommitting myself, and here's my first month's newsletter. So there's a variation on the first month that you're sending it out. In October, you can send out career news. Career news is going to look something like anything going on in your life. Here's a real announcement that we did on September 2nd. It was a big announcement plus ground owls and turtle races. You can see there's a picture of Gary and his bro on the big wheels, and we were talking about going into business with Gary's brother. Now, you don't have to go into business, so that's not necessarily career news. A common one, maybe you switch offices. Yeah. Maybe you switch brands. Maybe you open up a new office. Maybe you just take some training and information. You get a new certification. Maybe you attend a conference. Maybe you attend an event. What kind of career news that you can share that ultimately translates in a benefit to the folks who you're sending it to. And so there's the rest of that. I wanted to move into this November one, really important one. It's the client welcome kit. This is
absolutely huge. If you learn nothing else, like this is something that you can send out and start building identity immediately.
This plugs the holes from the funnel of prospect to client, but it also equips your clients with a tool to refer you with, because leads and prospects are clients too. And also we want to make sure we give our clients, or people who know us, doesn't have to be your clients, it could be your people who know you. We want to equip them with the appropriate tools to refer you. So that professional dossier was one. Heck, implementing that we shared with you is another. But this one is really designed to get into where people feel like, all right, that's it's like going over the top in terms of what the information and value that you're going to provide. And it's the form of a client welcome kit. So a client welcome kit is just that. It's what you would send to a new client to indoctrinate them on the services that you provide, right? The offers of help and how you can help them, your knowledge, your expertise, and you're just getting them some grounding on, like, this is what it's like to work with me. Now, who could not benefit from that, right? A prospect can benefit from that. A client's going to benefit from that. A client can benefit from sharing that with somebody that they know who's thinking of buying or selling a home. So what is included in a client welcome kit? Well, a little bit about Gary. So a little bit about Gary, some home buying resources. Now, you guys probably noticed from throughout this presentation, Gary and I like to do a lot of video. The reason we like to do a lot of video is that it has an indelible impact, and it It's lower cost of advertising, and it really breaks through, and people get to see our expertise. They get to build trust with us because of our competence. So we share videos on home buying. We talk about the advantages of working with us as opposed to if they were going to work with somebody else. We make some direct offers of help so they don't have to just contact us and say, I was thinking of buying or something. They can respond to an offer to get our home buyer direct access program. So these are all ways to be able to increase the engagement. Same thing, we want to provide advantages in selling a home with us, some home selling resources and information and education, right? Big part of what we do is we educate our clients, and we want to educate our prospects as well. And so that's what we're doing here. By the way, if you're not comfortable doing online video, that's fine. Put a blog post on there. And if you're not fine with writing, just link to the articles provided by the National Association of Realtors, because they got a ton of them, right? So you have plenty of options. It's not like you have to do this all on your own. Leverage the resources that are out there. And then same thing, making offers of help. Let people know that you're going to be sending them a new newsletter every month. Just call it your monthly report. Don't call it a newsletter. People like getting reports. They don't like getting newsletters necessarily. And you're going to just let them know every month I'm sending some valuable information out. I'm going to be staying in touch. What better way to set the expectations so that they don't tune you out, but start to look forward to the ongoing communication that you're having. And then you offer your professional network. So remember when we had you guys go out and meet with people to build professional relationships? Well, then you turn around and you offer those professional relationships to your customers as a value to them, right? Hey, this is going to save you time. So you need a roofer and you're not sure who to work with, save the time. Work with the person that I've built a relationship and that I would trust to do my roof, right? And so you include that in there, and then a little bit of contact me, and then that's it. That's what's in your client welcome kit. We've got one more month, Gary, and then we're going to be done. All right. December, selling in the off season. Gary, you've told me, and your brother is the same thing, is that you guys sell more real estate in the off season or like you have the most percentage of closings in the off season than you do any other time of year, right?
Yeah, we absolutely do. And this is why, is that I know that most real estate agents hibernate themselves and their business during the fall and winter season, which means that their sellers are hibernating as well. But here's the thing. Buyers are not hibernating. And so when everybody else is hibernating, man, this is when you can kick it into full steam.
Gotcha. So 5 reasons to sell before the selling season picks up. You're just sharing this information in a news report format, sending it out to everybody. There's a newsletter format. And then we even filmed some video here of when is the best time to sell my home. And that, guys, is the 12-month marketing calendar. Now, I wanted to answer the question, do you want the templates from today's training? I mentioned that there's 2 templates that we shared with you guys. I'm going to share with you in just a moment how you can get them for free. So bear with me for just a second. I'm talking about that client welcome kit template, right? How can you get that guy for free? And then we're also talking about the builder program kit template. How can you get that for free? Well, the way you can get that is by joining our club. You can join our club for only $67 a month, and you'll be able to get those templates as instant downloads when you join our club. When you join our club, you're also going to get, and this is a big deal, when you join our club, you're going to get a full digital marketing campaign so that you can implement that monthly value program every single month. It includes the letters, the emails, the newsletters. Let me show you what's included. You get the newsletter, right? There's the front version. This is actually the October version that I'm sharing with you guys. How's the market? What's ahead for real estate? So every month you're going to get a newsletter. You're also going to get a cover email to send that newsletter out. You're going to get a blog post that you can share on that same topic. You're going to get a Facebook post. You're going to get Instagram posts. You're going to get Pinterest posts. And you'll even get a phone script that we author for you so that you can implement that MVP, simultaneously implementing that omnipresent marketing, and it's all delivered to your inbox so you can implement that with ease. In addition to getting marketing campaign, we're going to give you a marketing website with blog posts posted for you every single month. Remember I mentioned that profile site? This is an easy way for you to be able to improve your online identity, because we're going to give you a website that we're going to put blog posts there automatically for you every single month. You can add your listings there. You can do lead generation. All you have to do is go in there and toss a photo and a bio in there, and then pretty much, and then buy a domain that you can redirect to this website. And that's included when you join your club as well. In addition to that, you can access our template library. There's hundreds of downloadable tools, templates, resources. For example, that professional dossier template that we shared with you, that is in there. The emails that I shared with you guys in terms of what you can send out, like the apology letter or the re-engagement letter, that's in there. All of these tools that I shared with you are available in the template library when you join our club. We also have a training library where if you have a question about how do I use some of these tools, it's in there. You can even join us for live member training sessions with Gary, myself, and our whole team to get your real estate, sales, marketing, and tech questions answered. You can easily cancel the club online, hassle-free, no questions asked. There's no contract or commitment, so you can cancel anytime. We're not going to harass you. It's all online, so it's just done, right? But my hope is that you're going to continue to experience the value and want to stay in there, keep getting that access to that website, keep getting access to those MVP or to the marketing resources. Now, when you sign up, here's one more thing I wanted to share with you guys is that you can, when you sign up today for our club, we've got an extra special bonus gift, which is our 30-day sales action plan. This is a 30-day program for you to implement a lot of the things that we talked about, but just in a 30-day format so that you can quickly ramp up, 30 days. It might take you 45 days, 30 to 45 days to more sales. And that's what's included when you join our club today. And so you can see the rest of that sales action plan. Before I wrap things up, I wanted to share a little story with you guys. This is from one of our clients, Teresa. She says, I want to say a huge thank you to the Paperless Agent team. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Chris, and the whole team behind the scenes. We actually tripled our income in 2017. We sold over $9 million, all because we followed the Paperless Agent plan. We started doing open houses again, and we followed the ASAP plan, the sales action plan. We've been with another office for 13 years, and we never had this level of marketing material. The saying goes, plan your work your plan. Paperless Agent gives you the plan. You just need to work it. Thank you to everyone who shares on the Facebook private group. Thank you, Teresa. So when you join our club today, you're going to get our client welcome kit. You're going to be able to download that build a program kit template. You're going to be able to download that 30-day sales action plan. You're going to get all of that when you join our club and start getting the marketing materials every single month for you to implement that MVP, as well as all the other templates and tools that we discussed during today's presentation. And with that, Gary, I know we've got approximately a half hour or so for doing Q&A, and let's do it.
All right, so I do want to let everybody know that what I did is I popped up in the chat section. There is a blue button. It says join club now. What's going to happen is when you sign up and you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page. You do not need a promo code. Just sign up there, and then you're instantly going to get access to our club. And the way that happens is you're going to receive some emails. They will likely be coming into your inbox. If for some reason your spam filter sees it and flags it, it may end up in your spam folder. And last but not least, if you're using Gmail, it may end up in your promotions tab. So go check all of those places, but rest assured, as soon as you click join, and submit your information, you will receive those emails. You'll be able to go and download this client welcome kit templates. By the way, these are templates. You get to go in there and customize them with your branding. You're going to get the builder program kit templates. Again, templates that you get to modify and customize. And like Chris said, you're going to get the 30-day sales action plan. Man, this is a really powerful action plan. If you just do exactly what this action plan tells you to. And, I think, Chris, you said, gosh, you can even use this 30-day action plan and span it over 60 days because there's so much in there. If you just do that, you're going to set yourself up for a really strong, powerful winter and spring. So go sign up right now. And Chris, I'm going to get to some Q&A because we've got a ton of questions here. All right. So number one, let's see, Joe Wright, and then also I saw somebody else from Canada. They said, "Hey, do you have content for Canada?" Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
actually, the October campaign is a great example of when we create a Canadian version, because if I share with you this month's marketing campaign that we gave our clients, and for those of you who are joining, you'll be able to access this right away and start sending this out. The How's Your Market? We have two versions. We've got the U.S. version, but we also have the Canadian version because the U.S. numbers don't make sense if you're in Canada. So yes, we do have Canadian content when it applies.
Absolutely. Okay. Next question. Ryan says, if I join your program, can I still use my current website? You can.
Absolutely. Don't get rid of it.
The thing. Do not get rid of it. Use both. One thing that you'll see is that I use the website that we offer through Paperless Agent, but Chris and I, we also have our own real estate website with IDX. We use both, and we highly recommend you do that as well, because it's really important, Chris. I don't remember which month it was like March or April, May, June. I don't know, when you were talking about your online identity and making sure that you have a really strong online identity. Yeah, the more websites, like if you're using two really great websites like that are updated and beautiful, it's going to help you with your online identity. So you can absolutely use your current one and the one that we offer as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to note the version that we have. I call it a marketing site. It's not a full version IDX website. It is meant for you to have a positive presence online. It's also meant for those of you who are clients who don't happen to have a website, for you to be able to market your listings, to be able to do some lead generation. So you can come in here and you can add listings to your site. This is a feature that we added because a lot of our clients actually don't have any website. So it's really easy to use this tool. We've made it super, super simple because, well, it's why have something hard when it can be easy and look good at the same time. So that is the marketing website. And when you sign up, it literally takes probably 5 or 10 minutes to set this up. The hard thing is you just got to pick a domain. You have to go to GoDaddy, and you can do it all through our sign up process. But you go to GoDaddy and you buy a domain that you want to direct the website to, and you'll have a great looking website, which is, we'll post a blog post here every single month so that it's always looking up to date, so that somebody doesn't come here when they're researching you extensively online, as we learned that they will do, that it's not stale. And you can even go in here and change the information. You could put your own blog post on here. You can do like what we did here is we just enhanced the one that we did, which is just putting Gary's video that he shot at the top of the blog post. So that's the marketing website that you're going to have. But I do not recommend that you get rid of the one that you have. I would just use it as complimentary. It's kind of like those people who have a Facebook business page but also a Facebook personal profile. Those tools can work together really nicely. Same thing with your full-blown IDX website versus your light profile site. I actually have multiple profile sites. I have the one that we provide, and then I've got like 2 or 3 others as well. So I definitely encourage you, because I want, when someone's looking for me, I want it to be easy to find me. But it's more than just being easy to find. Here's the thing. It's like Google did a study on this because they were curious. They wanted to know. They wanted to understand search results and trust, right? Because Google is also trying to build trust with its viewership, right? Like anybody who goes to Google, Google wants them to trust Google to be able to go to that place for information, so that anytime we have a question about something, we go to Google. So Google is also trying to build trust. So here's what they found though, and during their research, is that when someone searched for a topic, the more search results that showed up related to the topic, if it was related to a company or a person, the greater the trust that existed for that person or for that company or for that individual. There was something there was something about seeing the search results all about that, meaning that if they search Gary Krath, oh, that first one's about Gary Krath. Oh, there's another one about Gary Krath. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Like all of a sudden, because you were showing up, that person had more trust in you. Because people translate search results on Google as, I don't know, important or relevant or competent, right? So that's the nature of the beast there, right? Yeah.
Yasmin says, is your website included in the monthly membership fee?
Yes, Yasmin, no additional fees.
$67 a month, you're getting everything. And then Heavenly says, I'm waiting on my test date for my license. Should I wait, or is it better to get started now? I highly recommend, what we teach is going to be fundamental and very specific to your success in real estate. And so the faster you want to be up and running as soon as you have your license.
Well, there's a lot of preparation that you could be doing prior to getting your license.
Absolutely. I mean, my goodness, when you want to talk, Chris, like what an incredible opportunity to be able to be ahead of the curve when you get your license than to have all of this set up and ready to go.
I mean, you're going to want to have your database in order. You're going to want to make a list of everybody that you know. You want to get that database so you can start sending the stuff. The first thing you're going to want to send out the moment you get your license is the career news saying, hey, I just got into real estate, right? So, and here's what that means for you. And so that's the first thing that you're going to be sending out. But remember, you want to have more, you're going to want to have as much as you can lined up, because also when you first get into it, the more of this you can get out of the way, you have a learning curve. You're going to have learning curve. It's not like after you get your license, you're going to actually, that's when your real learning starts, right? That's when you actually start to learn how to do this. So the more of this that you can have ready to go, the more time you're going to have to spend figuring out, all right, how do I take care of a client? All right, how do I do this? How do I do that? Okay. And the big problem, I mean, this is not just for new agents or people who are about to get their license. Here's the thing. You have a real estate practice, or you're about to have a real estate practice. And here's the thing. No one else is going to be your chief marketing officer for you, right? Like there's no one else who's going to be the person who's going to be running your marketing except for you. And unfortunately, getting your license and putting the shingle out, or whatever that terminology is, isn't enough for us to start getting clients, right? Like there's stuff we have to do to get customers. And, anyone who's been in this business will say that, yeah, you don't just get to put a sign in the yard and all of a sudden people come out of the woodwork. You got to work at it. You got to do prospecting. You got to do marketing. All of these things I kind of put under the bundle of the sales and marketing umbrella, but no one else is in charge of it but you. And if you don't take the time to not only learn but implement, then you will always find yourself in this little bit of struggle, right? You're always going to be chasing after the next deal. You're always going to be struggling to find the next thing. You're always going to be distracted by the next shiny thing to be able to do it. But and unfortunately, a lot of us do that. I mean, a lot of us kind of fall, like me. I get into patterns of like really good productivity, and then all of a sudden next day I'm chasing after the shiny penny again, and then I get back to the pattern of productivity. But no one else is going to be in charge of that but you. So you have to do these things because no one else is going to do it for you. Right? You can say, I'm going to get round to it. But the problem with round 2 is you don't get round to it. And then you keep going around and around in that struggle, on the struggle bus.
Struggle bus. All right. So here's the thing. It's yeah.
I was going to say, and here you leverage us. The reason why we give you these tools, the templates, the marketing, is it saves you time. Like you can implement more because you don't have to worry about, oh, how do I come up with my next newsletter? How do I do this thing on the website and post another blog and do this and do that? It's all done. And usually when you're looking for a template, like, oh, I need a buyer guide. Oh, I need a seller guide. Oh, I need a professional dossier. Usually the template is in the template library that we have. There's like thousands of templates in there. So save yourself the time so that you can do more, take care of more people, and ultimately, be more satisfied with your career.
Yeah, absolutely. So join us and thousands of other real estate professionals across North America. Go click on that link right now. Make sure the day doesn't get away from you. Go click on that link. Get signed up right now as I get to our next question. That link is over in the chat section. It says join club now. By the way, I'm also going to just put that in the chat section so you have the link readily available. So go do it, and let's get to the next question. Next question, Jeffrey says, Chris, can I insert the Facebook Pixel code on my website?
Yes, you can. You just go into the settings area of the website, and you'll be able to drop the Facebook Pixel code in there for being able to track. And yeah, that's a very important feature that for me is really important because I do a lot of retargeting strategies with Facebook.
Ho has a great question here, and I'm going to kind of revamp this question a little bit to kind of give a different spin on it. And it is, Ho's asking, how many people are on our real estate team? And I think the question is, how many people are on your team doing all these different things? Because I'm a single agent. How do I do all of this? And really, that's exactly why Chris and I do what we do. Is we know that almost everybody is going to be a single agent out there working to build your own business as your own solopreneur. And so what we do is we break everything down that you need to do to have a thriving real estate business. We break it down into bite-sized educational and actionable pieces to where you can just go baby step by baby step by baby step. And before you know it, you're going to have things in a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. I mean, on our team, we have 3 people on our team, right? And we each have a different role that we play. But where you might not have people, right? And our team, like, it's not like we got like lots of like employees and stuff like that, and staff, I should say, on our team. I mean, we've got just 3 of us, and that's, I market the real estate, and Gary and Jonathan, they are the ones who sell the real estate. And so, but here's the thing is that when you're on your own, what you're looking for is leverage. All right. So where can you get leverage? Well, you can get leverage in the form of having people do some of the marketing for you. Like when you join our club, we're going to give you the marketing key, and you're going to be looking for leverage points. Like, where do I get good value so that it helps me do more of these things without actually spending more time doing them? Because these things that are really important, you have to do them. Otherwise, you'll always be in this, like I said, you'll always be on that struggle bus. But there's other ways to acquire leverage as well. Maybe you have to start by doing a little bit more in the beginning, but after some time, after you get some traction, you start being able to reap the benefits of implementing programs like this. Maybe you can hire a VA to help you with implementing the marketing. So now you've got people doing the marketing that's over here, Paperless Agent, providing you that every single month. And now you've got a VA who's helping you, assist you in sending that out to the people every single month. Now you've got leverage, and that's how you acquire scale and growth. And eventually you do this really well. I mean, if you were to dedicate one day a week to being that chief sales and marketing officer for yourself, spend half the day in the office doing the marketing, spend the other half of the day out there pressing the flesh, walking the streets, being in the neighborhood with the farm areas that you want to serve, meeting people, speaking.
Did you just say walking the streets?
I meant walking the neighborhood.
Don't be walking the streets.
No, well, you want to be out in the neighborhood so that you're like a presence in the farm areas, in the neighborhoods that you want to serve. So if you were to do that, you'll quickly have a surplus. I mean, you will have a surplus that is more than you can do on your own. You know what I mean? Like that's, but a lot of times it's easy to overlook that. It's easy to not have the discipline, right? That's required to say, at this time that I'm going to do this sales and marketing activity, this is sacrosanct. This is going to be on my calendar every single week, or whatever the pattern that you have, or these are what I'm going to do each one of these days. If you don't have that discipline, then it is a little bit harder, and it takes time to develop that discipline. It's not like you're going to start that day one as a new agent, or even people in the business several years. It takes time to do that, but use leverage. It's all about getting leverage. You don't need a team, you need leverage.
I love that. I love two things that you said: struggle bus and leverage. Struggle bus. That's a new one. I don't know where you just. We work together all the time. I've never heard you say that before. I love it.
I think that's a runner terminology. Like when you're running long distances, it's like, oh man, I was really on the struggle bus for that one.
I love it. Awesome. So, I by the way, I love doing this. I just want to give a quick shout out to our newest coaching club members of Chris and Gary's coaching club. We have Chris, Pam, Peggy, Steve, another Chris, Karen, Sharon, Joel, Valerie, Angela, Courtney, Suzanne, Sharon, Sue, Amar, Andrew, Jay, Cynthia, and Heavenly. Welcome to the Paperless Agent Coaching Club. We are here to help, and like Chris is talking about is, absolutely everything that we're doing in our own real estate practice that is working for us, we're going to turn around and we're going to teach you exactly how to do it. We're going to get you templates. We're going to get you scripts and dialogues and really help you build up and maintain your own thriving practice. Next question, Chris. Steve says, why don't I hear anything about farming a neighborhood? What are your thoughts?
A lot of these strategies that we've talked about assume you're farming a neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. The omnipresent marketing, that's farming, right? It's just a matter of where you're going to direct that to. So that's your database. That's your farming area. Heck, the open house strategy, that's a farming strategy right now. If you're talking, Steve, specifically about why we didn't mention dropping postcards, I don't think I would start there for most people.
Right.
To do a strategy where you're utilizing postcards is a pretty big investment, and you have to be really good at market selection. Gary, I remember you were marketing that Lost Creek area for a while and lost a bunch of coin doing that, right? And it took years.
Why you got to bring this up? I think when we actually averaged out how much coin I dropped, as you said, or lost, it was over $76,000 that I wasted on this one geographic neighborhood over, I think it was a 3 or 4 year period, and I got this many sales out of it. Goose egg. You
got to be really good at market selection there, right? So that's
it's an expensive lesson to learn. That's for sure.
We actually did it. We did a training on sort of like that, the lessons learned from doing that, and how to go about building. We call it local market mastery, not necessarily farming, but local market mastery can be a price point. It can be a niche neighborhood. But was that Steve who asked that question? So when you're if you have a farm area that you're focused on, a couple of things is implement that omnipresent marketing. Heck, you could do that move up home buyer program. You could zero that into that farm area. And then all of these strategies, you're just adding that that focus there. Now, one of the things I like to do, and we do a lot of farming using our videos as well as our listings. And so that's one of the things. We've got a couple of areas in Texas where I boost up the budget because I want them to see our listings and I want them to see the videos of our personalities sharing real estate tips and advice. And so that's how I do the farming, because I can do it so much less for a lot less money. I don't have to wait for us to spend $76,000 to know whether or not it's not going to work for us. I can do it with a lot less money. So I tend to lean towards more online marketing strategies. Probably during today's presentation, a lot of the strategies that we shared, they're going to use tools like Facebook. They're going to use tools like Google or YouTube and that. And we train, we have lots of training sessions in our club on how we do it. In fact, we just did a training session yesterday on why aren't my Facebook ads working and a bunch of other related topics on how to do online video. And so that is, I think, local, let me rephrase that, local market mastery. Gary, that's been one of your really strong growth strategies, is to expand in areas. And so I think it's important.
I do too, but to Chris's point is it's not one of the 12 months, because you need to get these 12-month marketing campaigns, you need to get those mastered before we start adding on top of it. It's kind of like, I look at geographic farming or local market mastery kind of like building a house. The very first thing you need to do is you need to pour that foundation, and that foundation is your database, the people who know, like, and trust you. You've got to pour that, you've got to let it set, and you need to master that before you start building up.
Yeah, well, farming also, any farm, even doing the online stuff that we do, it requires money. That's the thing about farming, is that you need to have a bit of surplus to reinvest into being able to put the marketing in. Because here's the thing, when you're farming an area, you need a couple of things. One, you need presence, right? Presence is going to be in the form of marketing. It's going to be in the form of online marketing. It's signs, so on and so forth. And then there's physical presence, right? That might be, a great example of that would be if there's a school in the neighborhood and there's opportunities for you to be a sponsor or even participate in the events and be a presence in the actual neighborhood. And so your marketing in that neighborhood along with your physical presence in the neighborhood is what's going to produce the result. But you have to be able to spend the money in the neighborhood to begin with. And so what you're going to do is use these other campaigns to start to be able to create that surplus so that you can reinvest that. The great thing here, though, is that it's not like you have to do anything differently. It's just you're going to take these same strategies, but add the additional audience of that farm area, if that makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely.
Which is what we do that. That's what we do. Is I've got Gary's data. If you were to look into our ad accounts, you're going to see that I've got Gary's database is one area of emphasis. And then you're going to see the farm areas in which we're investing in, right? And so there's a couple of areas in Lakeway that we're doing that, and there's a couple of areas in West Austin area that we're doing that. And so I'm doing that, but it's one of those things that I don't like to tell people to start there, because it's one where people will jump to before they've put that foundation in place, like that you're talking about, Gary.
I agree. I totally agree.
But Steve sounds like he's probably more advanced, and so he is going to want to add those audiences to these same campaigns.
Yeah, and by the way, like Chris said, we have recorded coaching sessions on those topics. So when you join today, you're going to gain access to all of those sessions.
But you could implement even like the January campaign where we were talking about how's the market. You could send that to the database. But you could also just drop that in the zip code or into the neighborhood, right? You put your contact information in there, print that sucker out, and drop it in. I mean, it works. I mean, what's better? A postcard, of Gary showing him his chest hairs, or getting some value on what's happening in the marketplace?
Honestly, I don't even know where you come up with this stuff. You're just like, this is one of those things. It's like, gosh, you know what? To be in Chris's brain for 5 minutes is like not even something I want to comprehend. Okay. So
I think that, Gary, I mean, who knows? We haven't tried it as a postcard farming strategy.
So next question, Chris.
Guess how many chest hairs are on Gary's chest and when on it?
Next question we have is from Melissa. She says, how do you do a Facebook ad to your database? Chris, I'm not going to ask you to open up Facebook because you have countless sessions on this. If you just want to talk people through how to do that.
You know what I'm going to do, Gary? Because I know we have I'm sure a number of our clients are new members that they just signed up, and they probably have that question.
No, so this is actually great, because my next question was from Barbara or Deborah or John. I don't remember who it was. Trisha said, what do I get when I join? So this is actually perfect that you're going to show them what they get when they join today.
Yeah, so when you log in, you'll be able to access those MVP or those monthly marketing campaigns here. You'll be able to set up your marketing website here under the Agent ID site. A feature I forgot to mention was we have an email. You can send emails through our system. You just upload your database and you can send HTML emails out through our marketing suite. And in this club area is where you're going to find the training library and the resource archives. So let me just go here into the resource library. And I recently did a whole session on where was it? On Facebook audiences. So let's see. You can actually see the training library is right here. I wasn't joking when I said there's hundreds of topics in here. Let me just, I'd scroll on forever. But what I'm actually looking for is the category on Facebook, because that's the thing I wanted to answer, is how do I do that? So this Facebook's audience and list building tools session that we did goes into detail on how do I go into Facebook Ads Manager and then utilize the audience feature and create a new audience based off of a CSV file that I have, off of my website, off of engagement on my social media business, on my Facebook business page. So there's all these ways that you can create the audiences. So what I did is I came in here and I created a little guide on using the Facebook pixel and how to add your Facebook pixel to the website and how to use the Facebook custom audience feature. These are PDF checklists for you to follow. And then what you come in here is you can watch the training video associated with that. So this one is on the custom audience feature, which is the tool that you would use to upload your database to start marketing to your database. And so here's a video. It shows you exactly how to do it. And that is what you will do is when you go into Facebook Ads Manager is you're going to use the audiences tool. You're going to create a new custom audience and you're going to utilize the option for the customer file. And we show you how to do that exactly in that specific coaching session, in that training session. We show everyone there's checklists as well as video screen sharing demonstration. So you really don't have any excuse not to do that because it's in there. It shows you how to do it. You shouldn't have any issues in implementing it.
Yep. So we have a few more questions we're going to get to, a few more minutes in this broadcast. We do want you to make sure that you get access to the client welcome kit templates that we're giving to you as a gift. You're not going to pay $600 for it. You're getting them as a gift today. We're going to give you the $600 builder program kit templates as a gift today. And when you sign up right now, in the next few minutes, you're going to get the 30-day sales action plan, $200. We're gonna give it to you as a gift. So go do that right now as I get to our next question. And the next question I have for us, Chris, is how much credit amount do you give people with the Move Up program? Is it a percentage or a specific number? Cecile said that, and then Nicole said, where does the discount come from?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah. It's up to you on what your Move Up program is going to include. There's the way we do it, and that was the example that was reflected in there. But what you're doing is just try. Here's the thing. It's what we call, it's essentially the dynamics behind it is it's what we refer to as a concession. So you're the first to make a concession in something. A lot of things that people don't understand is that when you're making a concession, it's best to give a soft concession, right? Like something where there's not a hard cost associated it for you. And so for us, we do it, but how do you do it?
How do I do it?
Yeah.
So here's how I do it. Is number one, these are just the logistics of the way that we do it and the way that our broker allows us to do it and is allowed in Texas. So, number one, and make sure you meet with your broker when you talk about how you're going to give a concession. A lot of people call it a reduction in their commission, whatever it may be. I don't care how you call it, but basically what we do is we offer 1% of a reduction in our fee when we on the lesser of the two homes. So if they're actually in a move down, we call it a move up program, but if people are moving down and you sell a more expensive house and then they buy a less expensive, they get a concession on the commission that we would have collected on the less expensive of the two homes. And so what we do is we offer 1% of the commission that we collect. And the way it tactically works is we have the title company just reduce our fee by that amount if they are selling the house. Now, if they're buying the house, what we do is we take that 1% and we turn that concession and we pay for 1% of their closing costs. So they just take that and transition it over to paying for their closing costs. So
all that's written into the contract, right?
It's all written into our contract with the client. It's either written into the listing agreement or it's written into the buyer agreement. So
gotcha.
It's really simple. And here's the thing is that I think, Chris, so many people in real estate get their knickers in a bunch. I don't know if that's the right term, but they do it around, oh, well, you can't do that. You know, so many people in real estate are looking for reasons not to do something. And instead, what Chris and I do is we're looking for solutions. How do we create a solution around this situation? And so make sure that you come into everything in real estate with an open mind and be solution oriented. That's the way it's going to help with you in your business. I promise you that. Well, don't work from a place of certainty, work from a place of curiosity.
I think part of the issue is, particularly with that commission one, is people assume that everyone's basically charging the same commission, which I know is not a thing that we should be working towards. But people kind of make that assumption that, oh, this is what everyone's doing. But, you know, let's say you say, I'm going to make a 1% reduction. I normally charge 10% and I'm only going to charge you 9%. You know, like that's where it becomes a bit soft, right? Like because it's not fixed. Commissions aren't fixed, right? And so what is the amount going to be? Well, you're still making that concession based off of what you want to offer to the folks. So cool.
Rachel corrected me. She said, Gary, it's getting your knickers in a twist. There you go. All right. Peggy had a question. This goes back to the open house strategy. How does this work in a market where we have such a lack of inventory? Peggy, I promise you, there are houses for sale.
Yeah, there's always houses for sale.
Always houses for sale. You just need to find them and go contact that listing broker or agent and find out if you can host their house open.
You know, Gary, Gary, sorry. You said a great way to know what's going on and who has the listings is to go on the broker tour.
Yeah, absolutely. If there are broker opens or property tours in the geographic regions that you really want to service, go on those tours. You know, in Austin, I think it's once a month. Go on the tours every month. If it's once a week, go on the tours. You need to network with the agents who are highly seasoned and have the listings in that neighborhood. You need to see the houses. Gosh, one of the biggest things is, you know, I used to get calls all the time from agents wanting to host my listings open. I'm like, okay, yeah. So what do you know about the house? Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Click, you know, call me back when you get serious about this. Yeah. So you need to see the house, build relationships with those agents.
Well, you're quickly going to see who has the inventory, right? I mean, it's like, because they're there. They have to be there.
You got it. Next question. And Chris, this is probably going to be one of our last ones. Shannon says, do you email the CMA or snail mail it? Shannon, it depends on if you have everybody's email address. If you have their email address, email them. You know,
do both.
Or do both. But if you only have their mailing, which, by the way, a lot of people said, hey, I don't have email addresses from these people. How do I get their email addresses? You know, a great one that I would highly recommend is a competition. And so Chris actually trains on, you know, having these contests, not a competition, a contest. So you can have a referral contest, but you request their email address. So what you can do is you can have a contest of, gosh, this month I'm giving away a Weber grill. You know, this is one thing Chris and I like because we love to grill out. We're in Texas, of course. We love to cook everything on the grill. And so you can have a contest of who can send you the most referrals in a month, or have a contest of who can get you their email addresses the quickest, whatever it may be. But you mail out a letter saying, hey, you know what, I'm wanting to do this. I want to send out this valuable information. Here's a contest. There's so many different ways that you can go around.
One of the things, Gary, I would do a follow-up question to that is if you know them and you don't have their contact information, why is that? I mean, if you actually know somebody, you probably have a way to get it, right? Like if you know them, if they know you, right? Because a lot of these are based off of, are they in your sphere of influence? Are they in your professional network? Do you somehow know them through some kind of thing? And if that's the case, if you actually know them, then you probably have access to get it through social media. And if you do know them and you're like, hey, I'd like to add you to my MVP. This is where I send you cool stuff every single month. What's your email address? I mean, if all you have is a text number, if all you have is a name and nothing else, and like, do you know this person? I mean, how do you know them? So you got to have something. Maybe you got their telephone number. A great way, Gary, you do this all the time. So one of the things that Gary does as a practice is he's constantly in his database updating records. Like that's part of the strategy for him, is to be able to say, I'm not connected to so-and-so on Facebook. I need to go friend that person. Or, I don't have so-and-so's cell phone number. I better email that person. Or I don't have so-and-so's email address. I better call them and find out what their email address. Right? Like it's actually a legitimate activity to be able to go out and acquire this information. And if they know you, it's not like, it's not like you're not creeping. It's like, hey, Gary, I kind of need your phone number so I can get a hold of you when I need to. You know what I mean? It's not, you're not being weird. You're just being like how a professional would be, is I got to make sure I have good records of all the people that I care about that I might need to take care of with your email address.
Yeah.
That could be a whole campaign in itself.
It absolutely could.
Just, hey, I'm trying to take good care of my clients by having their most up-to-date information and making sure we're connected on social media in case you ever have some help and I can help. I want to make sure we're connected. That's it. Yeah. I might have to add that.
And like Chris said, you're not creeping. You're offering a lot of value. That's the whole thing of the MVP, that monthly value program. By offering them value, they're going to give you the information to be able to get it. Quick shout out to our newest members, Chris. We have Andrew, Jay, Cynthia, Ryan, and Nancy, Sharon, Gail, Kim, Erica, Irene, Brittany, Melissa, Jonathan, Tricia, Lynn, Liza, Cheryl, Pinay, Stephanie, Sonia, Melissa, and Nicole. Welcome to the Chris and Gary's Coaching Club. So honored that you trust us with your education and that you see the value here that we're offering you. We're delighted that you're here. By the way, if you have not joined, this is really your opportunity to go join our coaching program right now. Go join the club. Get started today. Chris, for one real quick second, can you run through what everybody's getting today as bonuses?
Yeah, you're going to get the client welcome kit, right? That's the tool that you can use to turn more prospects into clients, as well as to turn your clients into walking, talking advocates and endorsers of your practice. You're going to get our builder program kit templates so that you can quickly increase the amount of inventory that you have to offer to attract buyers and future business. And you're also going to get our 30-day sales action plan so you can very quickly ramp up the number of opportunities that you're creating for yourself. And you're going to get that when you join our club today. Remember, our club is going to give you monthly, every month you're going to get new marketing materials. You're going to get a marketing website. You're going to get tons of training and resources from us. So you pretty much, we're like your whole real estate back office there when it comes to marketing and training and all that kind of great stuff for you. I was reading another thought that came to mind. I saw Diane was asking about creative ideas for getting the emails. Another thing that you guys should, if you know somebody, if you legit know somebody, you should be connected to them on Facebook, like on your personal profile. And if you're connected to them, right, like you do a friend request and they accept your friend request or vice versa. And pretty much everybody's on Facebook these days, right? So there's no reason why not. They're not going to be there. And then for most people, they'll be like, oh, Diane's asking for a friend request. Cool. Or maybe you're already friends with them. And then what you can do, you can go to Facebook, open up Facebook on your desktop. And then you can pull up the little messenger thing, and you can actually message them saying, "Hey, I just wanted to check in. I noticed I was going through my records and I just don't have, an updated email address for you. I don't have an updated cell phone number. Do you mind sharing that with me so I can just send you something? Mm-hmm. I have something I wanted to send you." And then send them the monthly value report. Just send it to them through. You're saying, "Hey, I want your email address so that I can send something cool to you," and then send that MVP program out that we provide you with to them, to their inbox. Simple.
Chris, that might actually be a great coaching session that we'll do, is how to increase your database and improve the quality of your database, because I think that's something that everybody could learn from.
Gary, an observation that I have, and I identify with this because I'm more of an introverted kind of guy. I'm not the kind who likes to go out and hobnob with people and all that kind of stuff. It's more what you do. Yep. In our business. But one of the things I observed, like me, there's a lot of us who are not going to be all that assertive when it comes to making offers. Like, here's a great example. I was talking to Gary one time, and he had to take a phone call, and we were in the office, and it was a client. It was a past client of his or something like that. And they had called for some reason. And Gary was like, "Well, have you thought of moving?" And I was like, I looked at him, and then after the call, I was like, "Did you really just out of the blue ask him if he's thinking of moving?" He was like, "Of course I did. It's my job to know." Right. And I think that is the difference right there, is being willing to say out of the blue, "Hey, well, have you thought of moving? It's my job to know this stuff. So I'm going to just ask it. Hey, what's your email address? I don't have it." Like, there's that difference, I think, from a personality standpoint, or whatever the case. Maybe you just trained yourself to do it, but you're always willing to ask those questions, those provoking questions in some case, but people are never offended. It never hurts their feelings. They're never like, "I can't believe Gary asked me if I'm thinking of buying a home." They're like, "Well, yeah, actually, that's why I was calling you in the first place." But we do have to be willing to step that up. But I think a lot of us are like, "Oh man, is it okay if I ask them for an email address? Is it okay if I ask to be their friend on Facebook?" Yeah, it's your job to do these things.
It's your job. And guess what? They know it's your job. It's like everybody, and we're all very, very clear about what that job is.
Yeah, our job is not to sit there and wait to be beckoned, right? That's an order taker. Sitting there waiting for sales to happen, waiting for somebody to email us, waiting for somebody to connect with us on social media. That's a struggle bus strategy right there.
A struggle bus strategy. Okay. So if you're tired of riding round and round on this struggle bus, go over, click on that link right now, because Chris, we're actually 12 minutes over. It's been an awesome time here with everybody. We've been here an hour and 43 minutes. We hope you found this valuable. We hope you found it valuable enough to go sign up for our club, because you're going to get a lot of goodies. You're going to get absolutely everything that Chris and I are doing in our own real estate practice that is working and has sustained a really profitable real estate business. So go do that right now, and we will see you guys on our next coaching session, which we just did one yesterday. And in fact, you're going to get access to that on Monday. So when you join now, you're going to get access to the session that you missed yesterday.
Yeah, we covered marketing magic on that one. So how to improve your emails, videos, and social media marketing.
Yep. All right, everybody, we are out of time. Go sign up right now. Chris, any final words?
No, I look forward to seeing you guys on our next member training session, which will be the third Wednesday of the month. You'll get emails letting you know about when that is. And also, don't forget to join us on the private Facebook group, which is a member exclusive Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search us on, just search for Paperless Agent Coaching Club, and you'll come across and just request to join, and our team will get you access to that once you request to join. So we'll see you in those two places. We'll see you online. Thanks, Gary, for sharing everything you know, and we'll see you guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.